It was a quiet evening on Earth. The cities were calm, the stars were clear, and people were busy living their normal lives. Children were laughing on the streets, couples were walking by the riverside, and old men sat outside small tea shops, watching the sky fade from blue to deep black. Everything felt peaceful, ordinary, and safe. No one knew that the night would change everything humanity ever believed in. At first, it started like a rumor. A few people in different parts of the world saw strange lights moving slowly in the night sky. They thought it was just shooting stars or maybe a satellite launch. But the lights did not fade. They grew brighter, larger, and began to move in patterns no human-made object could follow. People took out their phones and recorded what they saw. Social media exploded with videos of the same glowing objects seen from different countries. Scientists stayed awake all night, watching, measuring, and trying to understand. By midnight, the lights had multiplied. There were not just one or two, but dozens, then hundreds, shining like fireflies across the upper atmosphere. Some formed circles, others straight lines, and then all at once they stopped moving. The world went silent. For a moment, everyone thought the lights had disappeared. But then something strange happened. A low humming sound began to echo from the sky. It wasn't loud, but it could be felt deep inside the chest, like the earth itself was vibrating. Dogs began to bark, birds flew away, and power grids across cities started to flicker. In observatories, scientists exchanged frightened looks. One of them whispered, This isn't coming from space. It's coming from everywhere." Governments held emergency meetings. Fighter jets were sent to the skies, but as they got closer, the pilots reported their instruments failing. The lights were not solid objects, yet their presence disrupted everything around them: radios, satellites, and even the magnetic field. Down on Earth, an archaeologist named Dr. Leon sat alone in her study in Egypt. She had spent her life studying ancient languages, carvings, and symbols from forgotten civilizations. When she heard the strange sound echoing through the night, something about it felt familiar. She played a recording of the sound on her computer and compared it to the frequency patterns she had seen before in ancient writings. Her hands began to tremble. The sound matched the rhythm of markings found inside the Great Pyramid, markings that had never been translated. Outside, the night sky turned crimson red for a few seconds. The strange lights began to move again, slowly descending. From a distance, they looked like stars falling toward the earth. Panic spread across cities. People rushed to the streets, praying, crying, shouting. No one could explain what was happening. In New York, car alarms went off on every street. In Tokyo, the sky reflected like a mirror of fire. In deserts, the sand began to glow faintly, as if the earth's surface was alive. As Dr. Leon watched from her window, she noticed something even more terrifying. The old monuments near the Nile, the ones that had stood silently for thousands of years, were glowing. Faint lines of golden light traced across the stones, forming symbols that hadn't been visible before. She grabbed her flashlight and ran toward the site. When she reached the first pyramid, she saw that the carvings were shining with the same pattern as the lights in the sky. It was as if the monuments were answering something above them. In another part of the world, at Stonehenge, tourists screamed as the ancient stones began to hum. The ground beneath them shook. Around the same time, in South America, Mayan temples lit up with blue light, beaming straight into the sky. All over the planet, ancient sites began to wake up, reacting to the same mysterious signal. It was no longer just an alien sighting. It was a call, and the Earth itself was responding. The news channels were full of chaos. Some believed it was the end of the world. Others said it was the return of ancient gods. A few scientists still tried to remain calm, saying it could be a cosmic event. But deep inside, everyone felt something primal, something old, moving inside their souls, fear mixed with recognition. As if humanity had seen this before, long ago, Dr. Leon stood before the glowing pyramid, recording every detail, her heart racing. She whispered, "This isn't the first time they came." Then the ground beneath her feet rumbled. The light from the pyramid shot into the sky, connecting with one of the descending alien ships. The beam was so bright it split the clouds open. For a few seconds, everything went completely silent. No sound, no wind, no life. Then came the voice, not through ears, but directly inside every human mind. A deep, echoing voice that spoke in no known language. Yet everyone somehow understood. The gate is open again. The lights in the sky began to swirl faster, forming a giant circle like a doorway between worlds. The same glowing patterns appeared on ocean floors, mountain peaks, and even under city streets. As the alien ships finally crossed into the solar system, telescopes captured their strange metallic forms, massive structures that looked alive, pulsing with energy. They were heading not toward Earth, but toward the sun. Scientists panicked, wondering why. But Dr. Leon knew. Her research had warned of this moment centuries ago. The ancients had left messages hidden in stone, warnings of a return, a war older than humanity itself. The sky above Earth now shimmered with alien light. The sound of the humming grew louder, and the ground shook as if something was trying to rise from deep below. In that moment, every creature on the planet felt it, the awakening. Something ancient, something forgotten was stirring under the Earth's crust. The air turned electric, and the last thing Dr. Leon whispered before the screen went dark was, when the first alien ship entered the solar system, something deep under the Earth woke up. It had been 2 days since the lights first appeared in the sky, and the world was no longer the same. The once calm and familiar nights had turned into something heavy and uncertain. The air itself felt alive, charged with an invisible force that made people uneasy. News channels ran non-stop coverage of the strange events, but no one had answers. Governments around the world stayed silent while rumors filled the internet. Some said aliens were already among us. Others claimed the end of time had begun. But deep inside, everyone knew that whatever was happening was far beyond human control. In a dark control room under NASA's main research base, a group of scientists watched the skies through massive holographic screens. The alien ships had stopped near Mars, floating in perfect silence. They didn't move closer, didn't attack, didn't communicate. It was as if they were waiting for something, or someone. The lead scientist, Dr. Jensen, looked pale and tired. "They're not random," he said. "They're forming a pattern, like a map." At the same time, in her small research tent near the Nile, Dr. Leon hadn't slept since that night. She kept studying the recordings from the glowing monuments. Every frame showed symbols, ancient, complex, but strangely familiar. She compared them with old carvings found across Egypt, India, and Central America. Then she noticed something terrifying. The same pattern carved in stone thousands of years ago was now appearing on the alien ships orbiting Mars. The connection was impossible to ignore. She wrote quickly in her notebook. "They have been here before." That evening, Dr. Leon received an unexpected message from NASA. They had decoded a short piece of the alien transmission, but it wasn't in any known language. They wanted her help. Within hours, she was on a military plane heading toward the United States, the world below her glowing with panic. As the plane crossed the Atlantic, she looked out the window. The stars seemed closer, brighter, almost watching her. When she arrived, the NASA base was buzzing with energy. Every monitor displayed the same thing, a strange pulse signal coming from Mars. The rhythm repeated over and over. 4 beats, then silence, then 4 beats again. "It's not random," Dr. Leon said quietly. "It's a language, a very old one." She opened her tablet and pulled up images of ancient tablets from her research. Each symbol matched the pulse pattern perfectly. "What does it say?" Dr. Jensen asked, leaning closer. Dr. Leon hesitated. "It's not a word," she said slowly. "It's a warning." The lights in the room flickered and everyone froze. The sound, that same low hum that had been heard across the planet, began again. But this time it wasn't coming from the sky. It was coming from beneath the Earth. The monitors glitched, showing flashes of heat signatures deep underground. Something was moving. Suddenly, communication systems started to fail. Radios, phones, and satellites went silent. The alien ships near Mars started sending out powerful light waves, golden rings that rippled through space. As each wave passed, parts of Earth's atmosphere flickered like a hologram. Scientists stared in disbelief. "They're scanning us," one whispered. "They're reading everything." Suddenly, communication systems started to fail. Radios, phones, and satellites went silent. The alien ships near Mars started sending out powerful light waves, golden rings that rippled through space. As each wave passed, parts of Earth's atmosphere flickered like a hologram. Scientists stared in disbelief. "They're scanning us," one whispered. "They're reading everything." In the chaos, Dr. Leon walked to the window and stared at the sky. The stars looked distorted, like they were being bent by some unseen force. "They're not here to destroy," she murmured. "They're here to remember." That night she couldn't sleep. She sat in the dark, playing the alien sound on repeat. With each repetition she began to recognize patterns hidden inside, echoes of ancient chants and rhythms found in temple rituals thousands of years old. Her heart raced as she realized what it meant. The alien's message wasn't new. It was part of human history. In the middle of the night she dreamed, or thought she did. She was standing in a desert under a blood-red sky. Giant figures made of light stood around her, their shapes shifting like smoke. One of them stepped closer, its voice deep and hollow. "You forgot us," it said. "But we never forgot you." She woke up sweating, the hum still ringing in her ears. The symbols on her notebook began to glow faintly in the dark. She touched them, and the light spread across the page, forming a single line of words written in her own language. "The past remembers the invaders." The next morning, Dr. Leon shared her findings with the NASA team, but before she could finish, the ground shook violently. The power went out, alarms blared, and screens flashed red. A satellite had captured something impossible. A new signal, not from Mars, but from deep beneath the Pacific Ocean. It was identical to the alien pulse. Dr. Jensen turned to her, his voice trembling. "That signal, it's not coming from them. It's coming from here." As the team watched, a massive whirlpool formed in the middle of the Pacific. From its center, a beam of blue light shot straight into the sky, connecting with the alien fleet. The entire world could see it. Across every country, people stopped what they were doing and looked up. Dr. Leon whispered, "They're not invading. They're answering." But before anyone could understand what she meant, all satellites lost connection. The sky turned silver for a few seconds, and a strange silence spread across the planet. Then came the voice again, echoing inside every mind, calm and cold. "The gate is open. The forgotten shall rise." Dr. Leon fell to her knees, her body shaking as another vision filled her mind. Ancient cities burning, giant ships hovering above deserts, and warriors made of light fighting against the same creatures that now floated near Mars. The memory wasn't hers, but it felt real. It felt human. Tears filled her eyes as she whispered, "This has happened before." And as the sun rose the next morning, humanity realized the truth in the invasion had already begun, not from the sky, but from the forgotten history buried beneath their own feet. The world was sinking into fear and confusion. 3 days had passed since the alien ship stopped near Mars, and every nation on Earth had gone silent. Airplanes no longer flew, power grids failed without warning, and strange magnetic storms began to sweep across continents. The night sky glowed faintly red, as if the stars themselves were warning of something greater. Dr. Leon sat inside an underground research base in Nevada, staring at her reflection in a glass window. Her eyes looked tired, but something else frightened her, the faint golden lines that had started to appear on her skin, glowing softly whenever she heard the alien hum. She had tried to hide them under her sleeves, but the marks were spreading slowly, forming the same ancient patterns carved on the pyramids and temples around the world. Dr. Jensen entered the room holding a folder filled with photographs. "You need to see this," he said. The images showed old stone tablets, broken pieces of statues, and carvings found in ancient ruins across the planet. Every symbol matched the pulse pattern of the alien signal. But one tablet stood out. It showed what looked like a giant battle in the sky. Humans were fighting tall, shadow-like beings descending from bright ships. In the center of the carving was a large circle, the sun, surrounded by smaller symbols that looked like planetary orbits. Dr. Leon ran her fingers across the photograph. "This is history," she said quietly. "This is what happened before." Dr. Jensen frowned. "You're saying this has all happened already?" "Yes," she said. "Thousands of years ago. They came before, and humanity fought back." The scientists around them went silent. It was too unbelievable to accept, but the evidence was clear. The aliens had not just discovered Earth. They had returned to a place they already knew. Later that night, Dr. Leon sat alone, reading ancient texts from her archives. The writings spoke of a war between the Sky Ones and the Guardians of the Flame. According to the texts, the Guardians were not gods, but humans chosen by the Earth itself. People who carried a mysterious energy that could awaken when the world was in danger. They had defeated the invaders before, but at a terrible cost. The Earth was nearly destroyed, and to stop the war, the Guardians sealed their own power deep within the planet, sleeping until the aliens returned. Dr. Leon touched the glowing marks on her arm and whispered, "The Guardians." She realized what it meant. The energy she felt, the symbols on her skin, they were awakening. Meanwhile, in space, the alien ships near Mars began to move again. NASA's Deep Space Telescopes showed them forming a huge circular formation like a gate. A pulse of golden light flashed through the circle, and within it, a shadow appeared, something even larger than the ships themselves. It wasn't a machine. It looked alive, its surface shifting like liquid metal. Across Earth, strange reactions began to happen. Old volcanoes that had been silent for centuries started rumbling. Earthquakes struck deserts and ocean floors where no tectonic plates existed. The same glowing symbols appeared on mountains, rocks, and even deep under the sea. Scientists called it a planetary resonance, but Dr. Leon knew better. It was the Earth waking up. Then came the first vision. Every person on the planet experienced it at once, a sudden flash of memory that wasn't their own. People saw images of ancient battles, cities made of crystal, and ships of light rising from oceans. The vision lasted only a few seconds, but when it ended, millions of people collapsed in shock. Some cried, some screamed. A few began drawing the symbols they had seen in their minds. Dr. Jensen stared at the screen showing global reports. "The whole planet just remembered something," he said in disbelief. Dr. Leon closed her eyes. "Not remembered," she corrected. "Reawakened." Moments later, the ground beneath the base started to shake. Dust fell from the ceiling as alarms blared. One of the researchers yelled, "Something's moving underground!" On the monitors, a huge heat signature appeared deep below the Earth's crust, stretching across thousands of kilometers. It looked like a network, lines of energy connecting to ancient sites all over the world. "The Guardian Network," Dr. Leon whispered. "It's alive again." Suddenly, the hum in the air grew louder. Lights flickered, screens went black, and a beam of golden energy shot upward from the ground, piercing through the roof of the base and disappearing into the sky. The scientists rushed outside and looked up. The beam had connected with the alien gate near Mars. For a moment, the two forces balanced, one from the Earth, one from beyond. Then, an explosion of light filled the sky, and the alien fleet was pushed back violently. People around the world saw it, a blinding flash that turned night into day. The news called it a solar flare, but Dr. Leon knew the truth. It wasn't the sun. It was the Guardian's power, striking back after thousands of years. When the light faded, half the alien ships near Mars were gone. The rest retreated, forming a protective shield around their leader, a massive ship that pulsed with dark red energy. The world celebrated for a few moments, thinking the danger was over. But Dr. Leon could feel something deeper stirring inside her. Her heartbeat matched the rhythm of the Earth's hum. The symbols on her skin glowed brighter, spreading to her face and neck. Dr. Jensen looked at her with fear. "Leon, what's happening to you?" She smiled faintly, though her eyes were filled with both sadness and understanding. "The past is fighting back," she said softly, "and it's using us to do it." Outside, the red clouds over the horizon began to swirl again, forming a storm that reached into space. The alien mothership charged another wave of energy, preparing for war. But deep below the Earth, the Guardian had fully awakened. The ground trembled, oceans rose, and the sound of the hum became a roar that echoed across every mountain and valley. The old war was starting again, the one humanity never remembered, but never truly won. And this time, the past would not sleep again. The world no longer felt like home. The air itself had changed, charged, heavier, filled with an unseen tension that pressed on every living being. It had been only a day since the light erupted from the Earth and struck the alien fleet near Mars, but nothing had returned to normal. The sky glowed faintly orange even at night, and people across the planet could hear a deep rumbling beneath their feet, like a heartbeat coming from the Earth's core. Something ancient had awakened, and everyone could feel it. Dr. Leon stood in front of the large glass window at the Nevada base, watching the distant sky where Mars shimmered red. Her reflection looked pale, almost ghostly. The golden symbols on her arms had spread to her neck and face, forming patterns that pulsed faintly like veins of light. She no longer tried to hide them. Every hour the symbols grew brighter, and she could hear the earth whisper in her mind. Fragments of voices, memories that weren't her own, and images of a world that existed thousands of years before humans remembered history. Buried beneath miles of sand in Egypt, hidden under the Antarctic ice, and deep within forgotten temples, Jensen found proof, carvings and relics showing humans standing beside alien beings. Not as slaves, but as partners. The Guardians had once worked with the creators to protect the solar system. But something went wrong. Jensen pressed his palm against the ancient stone tablet in front of him. The carvings glowed faintly in response. He read the inscription aloud, his voice trembling. The Maker gave life to stars, but sought to own their light. The Guardians turned against the Maker and sealed it beyond the dark. Only memory can wake the light again. He stepped back, realization flooding his mind. The Maker isn't just their god, he whispered. It's a weapon, one they lost control of. Before he could think further, the ground shook violently. Monitors flickered. Outside, the horizon pulsed with waves of red and black energy. The alien fleet had begun moving again. Their ships were forming a spiral around the solar system. A ritual, not a battle formation. Jensen knew what that meant. They were calling their god. At that moment, the golden light returned, and faint but steady, forming a circle on the floor around him. He felt warmth, and a soft voice echoed in his mind. "Jensen, listen carefully. It was Leon. Leon," he shouted, his eyes wide with hope. "You're alive!" "Not alive. Connected," she replied. "The Guardian's power is fading. The Maker feeds on fear and memory. If it reaches the sun, everything ends. You have to awaken the first memory. The one they erased." Jensen's mind raced. "What memory? Where is it?" The voice grew weaker. "Beneath the old world, where the first city sleeps. The answer lies where humans were born." Before he could ask more, the light vanished again, leaving him in silence. Jensen stared at the globe on his screen. "The first city," he whispered. Then it hit him. Göbekli Tepe. The oldest known human temple, buried for thousands of years in what was now southern Turkey. He gathered a small team and set out immediately. The world's governments were in chaos. Half believed the war was over, while the other half was preparing to surrender to the aliens. No one had time to listen to a scientist chasing old ruins. But Jensen knew that Leon's message was the only hope left. After 2 days of travel through storms and broken cities, he stood before the ancient site. The air buzzed with static energy. The same symbols that had once glowed on Earth's monuments now shimmered faintly on the stones. It was as if the temple itself was alive, waiting. As he stepped inside, the temperature dropped. The walls were covered in carvings of the sun, the earth, and strange star patterns. But in the center of the chamber, one symbol stood out, a circle surrounded by flames. Jensen placed his hand on it. The ground trembled and the floor opened beneath him, revealing a massive underground chamber filled with golden light. Floating in the center was a sphere, ancient, metallic and pulsing with energy. "This must be it," he whispered. The first memory. The sphere began to glow brighter, projecting visions into the air. He saw the truth. The moment the Guardians and the creators had turned against the Maker. The Maker had tried to consume the sun's energy, to reshape reality itself. The Guardians had used their own life force to seal it away in deep space, beyond time. But the cost was enormous. The Guardian's essence fractured, scattering across planets, becoming the soul of the solar system itself, and humanity. Humanity had been created to carry fragments of that light. Jensen fell to his knees as the realization hit him. "We're part of the Guardian," he whispered. "That's why the Earth fights back. That's why the monuments remember." But before he could process more, the golden light dimmed, and a shadow spread across the chamber. A voice filled the air, deep, ancient, and terrifying. "You should not have remembered." Jensen's blood ran cold. The temperature dropped further as the walls cracked, darkness seeping in like smoke. He turned toward the entrance and froze. A shape stood there, tall and shifting, its body made of living shadows. 2 red eyes glowed in the dark. The Maker had found him. It didn't attack immediately. Instead, it spoke. its voice echoing like 1,000 screams. You were made from my light. You were meant to serve. But you stole what was mine. Jensen stumbled back, clutching the ancient sphere. We didn't steal it, he said, his voice shaking. We protected it from you. The Maker's shadow leaned closer, the air crackling with energy. Then die protecting it again. Before it could strike, a burst of golden energy exploded through the chamber. The sphere in Jensen's hands glowed so brightly that it burned his skin. A voice echoed again, Leon's voice strong and defiant. You will not touch him. Light filled the temple, blasting the shadow backward. For a brief moment, Jensen saw her, Leon, made of pure energy, standing between him and the darkness. The Maker recoiled, hissing in fury, and vanished into the shadows. The light dimmed, and Leon looked at Jensen. Her eyes were sad. You found it. The first memory. Keep it safe. The final battle is coming. Jensen's voice trembled. What do I do? You awaken the others, she said. The Guardian's light is scattered, hidden in every world, every moon, every heart. Find them before the Maker does. And with that, she was gone again, leaving Jensen alone in the silent chamber, holding the glowing sphere that pulsed like a heartbeat. Above the earth, the alien fleet began to move once more, not to attack, but to summon. The stars themselves seemed to shift, as if something ancient was stirring in the darkness beyond. The final phase of the war was about to begin. The night sky had never looked so alive, or so close to dying. Every star flickered like a heartbeat, pulsing in rhythm with something vast and ancient stirring beyond the solar system. The alien fleet had stopped hiding. Their ships now formed a perfect circle around the sun, red lines of energy linking them together like a massive ritual. And behind them, stretching across the void, was the shadow of the Maker, its shape shifting like a living storm, swallowing starlight wherever it moved. On Earth, Dr. Jensen stood atop the ruins of the old observatory, holding the glowing sphere, the first memory. It pulsed softly in his hands, beating like a heart. The energy inside it was growing stronger every minute. It was connected to something, no, to everything. The monuments, the oceans, the sky, even the core of the planet, all were responding to it. He looked up, whispering to himself, Leon, I hope you're still out there. The wind howled through the cracked stones, carrying whispers that didn't belong to this world. He heard voices, thousands of them, old, forgotten, yet familiar. The voices of the Guardians. They were waking up. Suddenly, the ground beneath him shook violently. Across the world, golden light erupted from the Earth's surface once again, stronger than ever before. The ancient sites, pyramids, temples, mountains, and deep ocean trenches, all blazed with the same energy. Massive beams of light shot into the sky, piercing the clouds and joining together above the atmosphere. The first memory glowed brighter in Jensen's hands, its energy linking with the beams. He heard Leon's voice again, faint but filled with strength. You did it, Jensen. The others are waking. He smiled, relief flooding through him. Leon, you're alive! Not for long, she said softly. The Maker is draining the sun's light. If it succeeds, everything dies, every world, every memory. We have one chance. The Guardians must unite again. Jensen looked up at the night sky. Tell me what to do. You already know, Leon replied. The light isn't just in the monuments. It's in humanity, in every living soul. You have to make them remember who they are. Her voice faded, replaced by the sound of the earth itself humming. Jensen turned toward the broken radio tower beside him. Without thinking, he connected the sphere to it. The energy surged, lighting up the entire structure. Then he spoke, his voice echoing through every device on Earth, every radio, every screen, every phone. Listen to me. My name is Dr. Jensen. You don't know me, but you have to hear this. The world is in danger, not just from the aliens, but from something older. The light that once protected this planet still lives inside all of us. If we want to survive, we have to remember it. Believe it. The Earth is not just our home. It's alive. It's listening, and it needs you now. All across the world, people stopped what they were doing. Farmers, soldiers, children, elders, everyone looked to the sky. Some were terrified, some were crying, but as they listened, something began to change. The same golden light that had once appeared on monuments began to glow faintly beneath their skin. One by one, Billions of people across the planet began to shine. The Maker noticed. From deep space, its voice rumbled through every mind. You cannot defy creation. But the Earth roared back. The combined energy of humanity and the Guardians pulsed through the atmosphere, creating a massive golden barrier that surrounded the entire planet. The alien fleet opened fire, their red beams colliding with the shield. But the light didn't break. It grew stronger. Jensen looked up at the stars, shouting over the storm. Now, Leon, the Guardians are ready. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the sun exploded, not in destruction, but in rebirth. From its surface, golden flares of pure energy erupted, taking shape. Massive beings of light, each one resembling a different form. A dragon made of solar fire, a giant of stone and wind, a serpent of ice and starlight. The Guardians had awakened, their true forms revealed for the first time in millennia. At their center stood Leon. Her entire body glowed like the sun itself, her eyes burning with golden fire. She looked across the void at the Maker, her voice echoing across every planet, every ship, every heart. You created life to serve. We became more. We became memory. We became will. And now your time ends. The Maker's form twisted, its voice booming through space. You are fragments. I am the source. Leon raised her hand. Then the source will answer to its creation. The Guardians attacked. The sun blazed so bright that even distant planets were illuminated. The alien fleet tried to intervene, but the Guardians tore through them like shadows before dawn. The Maker fought back, sending waves of black energy that consumed everything in their path. Space itself rippled. Stars flickered. The balance of the cosmos trembled. On Earth, the people's golden light linked with the Guardians, feeding them strength. The first memory in Jensen's hands shattered, releasing a surge of pure energy that connected humanity directly to the Guardians' fight. Every heartbeat on Earth became part of the battle. The Maker screamed as Leon and the Guardians surrounded it, forcing it back toward the edge of the solar system. You cannot destroy me, it roared. I am creation itself. Leon's eyes burned brighter. Creation isn't yours. It belongs to all who remember. With one final burst of light, she unleashed everything, the combined power of the Guardians, humanity, and the sun itself. The explosion was so vast that it lit up the entire galaxy. The Maker's shadow disintegrated, its scream fading into nothing. Then, silence. In the stillness that followed, the alien fleet drifted, powerless. Some vanished into the darkness, others simply stopped moving, as if their purpose had ended. The Guardians slowly faded, their energy returning to the stars. High above Earth, Leon looked down one last time. Her golden form shimmered softly. It's done, she whispered. The solar system is safe. Jensen looked up at the sky, tears in his eyes.
Leon, will I ever see you again?
Her smile was warm, full of peace. Every sunrise, Jensen, every light that touches your world, that's me. She dissolved into a stream of golden particles, merging with the sunlight. The sky cleared. The sun burned brighter than ever before, alive and strong. Humanity had survived. Days later, the world began to heal. The oceans calmed, cities rebuilt, and the monuments, once silent, now glowed softly at night, a reminder of the battle that saved them all. Dr. Jensen stood alone on a hill, watching the dawn. The first light of day touched his face, warm and gentle. He smiled, whispering, "The past fought back, and won." Above him, for just a moment, the clouds formed a faint shape, a woman of light, watching over the world she saved. Then she was gone, leaving only the golden glow of a new beginning. The war for creation was over, but the memory of light would live forever. Across the world, chaos ruled. Satellite images showed that Mars was no longer stable. Huge explosions erupted on its surface, not caused by humans, but by the aliens themselves. The fleet was attacking something buried beneath Mars's crust. Every time they struck, massive clouds of red dust rose into space, and faint energy waves rippled toward the sun. It looked like a war, not between humans and aliens, but between the aliens and something else. In the command center, Dr. Jensen shouted over the noise of alarms. "We're losing Mars's signal. Whatever they're fighting up there, it's not us." Dr. Leon turned toward him. "They found what they came for," she said quietly. The Guardian wasn't only sleeping under Earth. It was sleeping everywhere, in the planets, in the stars, in the sun itself. The room fell silent. Her words hung in the air like prophecy. Then, all at once, the lights flickered, and every monitor displayed the same image. The sun, glowing unnaturally bright. Waves of solar energy began to spiral out, forming what looked like faces, human faces, moving within the light. One of the younger scientists whispered in awe, "The sun is responding?" Dr. Leon stepped closer to the screen. "It remembers," she murmured. "The sun remembers the war." Moments later, the communications officer shouted, "Incoming transmission. It's not from the aliens. It's coming from the sun." No one could understand how that was possible, but the audio signal was clear. A deep, echoing voice filled the room, not speaking in words but in tones that every person somehow understood within their mind. It said, "The invaders rise again. The flame of memory must awaken." The voice faded, and the sun's light intensified, sending powerful solar flares toward Mars. Within seconds, several alien ships disintegrated. But instead of retreating, the remaining fleet unleashed their own energy weapons, striking directly into the solar storm. The collision created a massive shockwave that reached Earth minutes later. Skies across the planet turned blood red. The oceans rose violently, and power grids exploded under the surge. On the surface, people fell to their knees as the earth trembled. In ancient temples, the stones began to move, rotating and aligning in new positions. Beams of golden light shot upward from pyramids, ruins, and mountains, all converging into the sky. It looked like the planet itself was fighting back. Dr. Jensen clung to a railing as the ground shook beneath the base. "Leon, what is happening?" he shouted. Her voice was calm, though her eyes glowed like molten gold. "The Guardian is remembering its purpose," she said. "It's protecting its home." But there was more than protection in that awakening. There was anger. The hum that once sounded like a distant vibration had become a roar, a deep thunder rolling through every mountain and ocean. Animals fled into forests, birds circled in confusion, and people everywhere could feel emotions that weren't their own. Rage, sorrow, grief, as if the earth itself was reliving an ancient pain. Above, the alien mothership sent a beam of red light toward the sun. For a moment, it pierced the solar storm, but then the sun responded with a burst of golden fire, brighter than anything ever recorded. The beam from the alien ship bent backward, shattering its own hull. Pieces of alien metal rained into space, burning like comets. Dr. Leon closed her eyes, gripping the edge of a table. "They tried this before," she whispered. "Last time, they almost destroyed the sun. That's why the Guardians sealed themselves away." Suddenly she gasped and stumbled. Visions filled her mind again, flashes of another time, another world. She saw giant alien ships attacking cities made of crystal and energy. She saw humans, or something like humans, fighting beside luminous beings that looked like fire given shape. She saw the sun splitting into waves of light, burning the invaders from the sky. Then silence. Everything buried. Everything forgotten. Dr. Jensen held her as she struggled to breathe. "Leon, talk to me. What did you see?" She looked at him, her eyes glowing brighter than ever. "I saw the first war," she said weakly, "and it's happening again." Back in space, Mars finally broke apart. A huge explosion tore through its surface, and from the dust, a glowing red sphere rose. Not metal, not stone, but something alive. The alien fleet surrounded it, trying to capture it, but the sphere pulsed once and released a shockwave that wiped out half the remaining ships. The rest fled toward Earth's orbit. When the first of those ships entered the atmosphere, Earth's skies ignited. Firestorms of energy collided with the golden beams coming from the ancient monuments. Lightning bolts shaped like symbols danced across the clouds. People watched from rooftops and deserts, terrified and mesmerized at the same time. Dr. Jensen shouted, "They're coming! We have to evacuate!" But Dr. Leon didn't move. She stood in the middle of the trembling room, surrounded by light. "No," she said softly. Running won't save us. The Guardian is awake now, and it doesn't run. It remembers everything. The ground split open outside the base, revealing streams of molten light flowing like rivers. From deep below, a sound like a heartbeat echoed louder and louder, shaking everything around them. The Earth's crust began to glow, and the entire world seemed to breathe for the first time in ages. As the alien ships entered Earth's skies, the sun flared once more, a massive eruption that lit up space. For a brief moment, everyone on Earth could see a golden figure within the sun's light, standing tall and radiant, its voice carried across the heavens. We are the memory of worlds. We are the flame that guards the dawn. The alien fleet responded with their own thunder, firing down beams of red energy. The war between light and shadow had begun again, and as the first battle burned across the sky, humanity realized the truth. They were standing on a living planet, one that still remembered its oldest enemy. The sun blazed, the earth roared, and the universe watched as history struck back once more. The world was burning with light. Not the light of fire or war, but something older, something alive. It pulsed through the clouds, the oceans, and the soil beneath every human step. The awakening that had started deep within the earth had now spread across the entire solar system. The aliens' invasion had not only brought fear, it had woken the sleeping guardian that once protected humanity. Dr. Leon stood outside the shattered research base, the ground glowing faintly beneath her feet. The air was filled with golden dust, drifting like fireflies. Around her, the desert pulsed with an unnatural rhythm, like the heartbeat of the planet itself. She could feel it in her bones. Every breath she took carried a whisper of something ancient. Her skin glowed brighter now, covered in symbols that no one alive could read, but that the Earth clearly understood. Above, the alien fleet regrouped in Earth's orbit. Their dark ships formed a massive ring across the sky, their red energy lighting up the night. Every television, every radio, and every screen across the world suddenly turned on, showing the same image: the alien leader. His face was not human, yet there was something painfully familiar about his expression. His skin shimmered like metal, his eyes glowing the same red as the storms above. He spoke in a voice that echoed inside every mind. "We come not to destroy, but to reclaim what was ours. You were born of us, shaped by our design. Yet you turned against your creators. The guardians betrayed the makers." Now, history repeats. People across the world fell silent. For centuries, humans had wondered where life began, and now the answer came from the enemy. They were not foreign invaders. They were the ancient gods humans once worshipped. Dr. Jensen, standing beside Dr. Leon, shook his head in disbelief. "They're lying," he said. "They're trying to break us." But Dr. Leon didn't respond. Her mind was far away, lost in the storm of memories the Guardian had shared with her. She saw flashes of another age, when the aliens walked among humans as kings and teachers, when the Guardians were their protectors. But something had gone wrong. The creators had demanded obedience, the Guardians had rebelled, and in the war that followed, the sun itself had been used as a weapon. Now the same story was repeating. The alien fleet fired its first wave of attacks. Red beams shot through the sky, striking the Earth's surface in dozens of places. But instead of destruction, something miraculous happened. Each impact triggered a response. Massive columns of golden light erupted from ancient sites around. The planet, the pyramids in Egypt, the temples in Mexico, the stones of Stonehenge, and ruins long buried under oceans and jungles. The planet was fighting back. From space, Earth no longer looked blue and green. It shimmered with veins of gold, connected like a living network. The alien ships began to falter. Their weapons grew weaker, their formation breaking apart. The Guardian's energy was spreading through the planet, forming a protective barrier around the atmosphere. Dr. Jensen stared at the monitors in awe. "It's like the Earth is alive," he whispered. Dr. Leon nodded slowly. "It always was. We just forgot to listen." But she knew it wasn't over. The aliens were regrouping, forming a single massive formation above the sun. They were preparing their final strike, a weapon that could drain the sun's energy itself. If they succeeded, every planet in the solar system would die. In her mind, the Guardian's voice spoke again, calm but firm. The flame that gives life must burn again. The Keeper of Memory must awaken fully. Dr. Leon fell to her knees as energy surged through her body. The golden light from the ground rose around her like a storm, spiraling upward. Her voice trembled as she whispered, "It's choosing me." Dr. Jensen rushed forward. "Leon, stop! You don't know what it will do." But it was too late. The Guardian's power flowed into her completely. Her eyes turned gold, her hair lifted in the wind that wasn't there, and her voice changed, echoing like thousands of souls speaking at once. "I am not alone," she said. "Every life, every memory, every battle, it lives in me now." The Earth's energy beams began to merge above her, forming a single column of golden light that reached far into space. The alien ships tried to block it, but the light burned through their defenses, shattering their metallic hulls. Still, the largest ship, the leader's vessel, remained untouched, its dark energy pushing back. From within that ship, the alien leader spoke again. "You cannot win. You were born from our light. You are our shadow." Dr. Leon's voice thundered across the world. "Then the shadow has learned to fight." The Guardian's power flared, and the sun itself responded. Massive waves of solar energy erupted, brighter than ever before. For the first time in recorded history, the sun pulsed with patterns, the same ancient symbols that glowed on Dr. Leon's body and across Earth's monuments. It was as if the sun recognized her. Scientists across the world stared in disbelief as instruments recorded impossible data. The sun's energy output was increasing, not decreasing. The star was awakening, alive in a way no one could understand. Dr. Leon raised her hand toward the sky, and beams of golden fire rose from every part of the planet, connecting to the sun. The entire solar system glowed, a web of light uniting planets, moons, and stars. The aliens hesitated for the first time. Fear spread through their ranks. Then the alien leader gave the final command: "Destroy the sun." All at once, the alien fleet unleashed its full power. The beams of red energy combined into one, striking directly at the sun's heart. For a moment, everything went silent. No sound, no wind, no heartbeat. Then the sun responded with a roar. A wave of golden fire exploded outward, blinding and endless. The alien's beams shattered against it, breaking apart like glass. The Guardian's voice echoed through space. "This world remembers. This world fights." Dr. Jensen shielded his eyes as the light engulfed the sky. "Leon!" he shouted. But when he looked, she was gone. Her body dissolved into pure light, merging with the beam that reached toward the sun. All across Earth, people looked up, watching as the sky turned into rivers of gold. The war had changed. It was no longer humans versus aliens. It was the memory of creation itself rising to defend its home. And in that moment, every living thing on Earth felt the same heartbeat, the same strength. The planet itself had become a weapon. The sun blazed brighter than it had in a million years, and from within its fire, a voice whispered across the cosmos, "The Guardian is awake." The aliens began to retreat. But far away, deep in the shadows of space, their leader still watched, waiting for the final confrontation. And as the golden light covered the solar system, the war entered its next stage, where gods, memories, and humanity's forgotten history would decide the fate of every world. The golden light faded slowly, leaving behind a strange calm across the solar system. For hours, everything was silent. No transmissions, no attacks, not even a signal from the alien fleet. Earth glowed faintly with the residue of the Guardian's power, and for the first time since the invasion began, the sky looked peaceful. But that peace was fragile. Dr. Jensen stood in the ruins of the observatory, staring at the sky through a cracked window. The clouds still shimmered gold, but his heart felt heavy. Dr. Leon was gone, or at least that's what he thought. She had vanished into light when the sun unleashed its energy, her body dissolving like dust in the wind. Yet somehow he could still feel her presence. It was as if she had become part of the earth itself. "Leon," he whispered, "what did you become?" He wasn't the only one asking that question. Across the world, People reported strange phenomena. Flowers were blooming in winter. Rivers glowed faintly at night. Animals behaved oddly, as if sensing something beyond human understanding. The old monuments pulsed softly with light, forming patterns across continents. It was as if the planet had developed a consciousness, aware, alive, and listening. Then came the dream. Every human on Earth saw it at the same time, a vision of endless space, filled with the same golden light that had once surrounded Dr. Leon. In the center of that light stood her figure, glowing, calm, and impossibly powerful. She spoke without words, her voice echoing in every mind. The war is not over. They are not gone. They are waiting, beyond the dark. People woke up trembling, some crying, some praying. The governments of the world tried to explain it as a shared psychological reaction, but Dr. Jensen knew better. He had seen the readings. Energy waves matching Leon's last signature had been detected near the edge of the solar system. She was still out there. Meanwhile, the alien fleet had retreated far beyond Mars, gathering near the Kuiper Belt, the frozen edge of the sun's reach. But they weren't defeated. They were rebuilding. Massive energy signatures hinted that the aliens were constructing something bigger than any ship humanity had ever seen. The world's scientists came together, desperate to find a way to communicate with Leon, or the guardian inside her. Dr. Jensen worked day and night, decoding the symbols still glowing on Earth's monuments. The patterns matched star charts, ancient maps of space routes humans had never known existed. It was a message, and he was starting to understand it. One night, while reviewing satellite data, Jensen noticed something strange. The sun was pulsing again, faintly but rhythmically. The same pattern repeated every few minutes like a heartbeat. He enhanced the signal, converted it into audio frequencies, and his blood ran cold when he heard it. It was her voice. Faint, distant, but unmistakable. Jensen. They're coming. He froze. Leon, is that you? The signal grew stronger. They've found something. In the dark. Something older than them. Older than us. I can't hold them back forever. Before he could respond, the signal cut off, replaced by static and a strange, low hum that made the entire building shake. Outside, lightning flashed across a cloudless sky. The Guardian energy, which had been quiet since the battle, suddenly surged again, spreading across the planet. In space, telescopes picked up movement. Thousands of alien ships were returning, but this time they were different. Their design had changed, darker and more organic, as if something new was controlling them. And behind them, far beyond Pluto's orbit, a massive shadow appeared. It wasn't a ship. It was something colossal, stretching miles wide, a shape that blotted out the stars. Dr. Jensen's eyes widened as he realized what he was seeing. That's not their fleet. That's their god. The alien leader's message echoed across every communication channel. You woke the Guardian. Now we wake the Maker. Earth trembled. The ocean surged. The golden light from the monuments turned unstable, flickering as if struggling against an invisible force. Humanity watched helplessly as the darkness in space grew larger, slowly moving toward the inner planets. Jensen ran to the console, his hands shaking. Come on, Leon. Where are you? Then a flash of gold appeared on the screen. For a second he saw her, surrounded by light, standing before the darkness, holding it back. But the light was fading, and she looked weaker than before. Her voice broke through the static one last time. Jensen, you have to remember the past. It's the only way to stop them. The answer is hidden in what they erased. The signal vanished. The next morning, the sun dimmed slightly, and every monument on Earth went dark. The Guardian's energy was silent. The aliens were advancing. Humanity was once again standing on the edge of extinction. But now, there was something even worse than aliens coming. Something ancient. Something that even the aliens feared. And far beyond the stars, where light met the edge of darkness, the war for the solar system was about to become a war for creation itself. Would you like me to continue with Part 7, where Dr. Jensen begins uncovering the truth about what they erased, the hidden history of Earth and the secret origin of both humans and aliens? The world stood on the edge of another nightmare. The skies had grown dim, as though the sun itself was afraid. The alien fleet hovered near the edge of the solar system, waiting in silence, their dark ships aligned like hunters preparing for the kill. But this time, something far more powerful hid behind them. the shadow of a colossal being that stretched across the stars. The Maker, the one even the aliens whispered about in fear. Dr. Jensen hadn't slept for days. His mind was full of Leon's last message. Remember the past. It's the only way to stop them. Those words haunted him. What past? What memory could fight something that swallowed stars? He sat in his lab, surrounded by glowing monitors. Data from ancient ruins, satellite signals, and energy readings filled the screens. Every pattern led him to one impossible conclusion. Humanity's history had been rewritten. The aliens had not just invaded once. They had been here before,